In 1828, and this was a question and answer guide for elementary school. Now, we're going to take this a page at a time. In other words, these videos are not going to be very long because they're only going to be as long as each one of these pages. So we are going to go through the entire book, and there are a total of, let me look, 333 questions. So there will be a lot of files, a lot of, these videos, but only one video at a time will not be very long. So here we go. We're going to start out easy. That's kind of how this goes. Elementary catechism. We're going to start out with some real easy questions. At least they should be easy. And then we're going to get a little more difficult as we go along. There are 12 questions here on this first page. 22 questions on the second page. Depending on how big the answer is, there may be less questions on a page, but let's get started. You want to know about the Constitution, little bits and pieces, and we can get this done. You like the background? Now this maybe even go back, I don't know, the way this room looks, it might go even farther back than the Constitution. I don't know. But I thought that this room would be fun to be in while we're talking about the Constitution. Question 1. In what country do you live? Answer. In the United States of America. And so now that establishes which Constitution we're going to be studying. We are going to be studying the Constitution of the United States. Question 2. Why is this country called the United States? Answer. Because it was made up of a number of states which were once separate, but afterwards agreed to unite together. Question number 3. What do you mean by a state? Answer. In any district or country whose people are all under one government. Let me read it again. I mean any district or country whose people are all under one government. Question number 4. Had then the different states which united together each a government of its own? Did you get that? Had then the different states which united together each a government of its own? Answer. Yes. But they agreed to put themselves all under one general government. Question number 5. Why did they do this? Answer. Because it would promote their general welfare. Oh my, don't we hear about that a lot? Well, this certain thing is passed because it'll help the general welfare. Let's discover what general welfare really means. Question 6. Is some government necessary in every country? Answer. Certainly. Without it, nobody would be safe. Not only our property, but our lives would be in danger. Question number 7. Cannot all the people of a country govern themselves? Answer. If every man was perfectly virtuous and knew what would be best for himself and others, they might. But this is far from being the case, and therefore the people of every country are and must be governed. Question number 8. How is this done? Answer. Laws are made which all must obey. Whoever disobeys them is punished. Question number 9. Who makes these laws? Answer. They are made in different ways, under different governments. In some countries, a single man makes the laws according to his own pleasure. Question 10. What is such a government called? Answer. A despotism, or absolute monarchy. And the person who thus rules is a despot, or absolute monarch. In other states, a certain number of persons belonging to ancient or wealthy families make the laws. Question number 11, and we're getting close to the end of this video. Question. What is such a government styled? What is such a government styled? Answer. An aristocracy or oligarchy. In other cases, the people themselves meet to make the laws. This is called a pure democracy. And question number 12. A state must be very small, where all the people can meet in one assembly. That's a question, but it doesn't sound like a question. It says, a state must be very small, where all the people can meet in one assembly. The answer. This form of government is only suited to a small city, or rather village, and can never take place in a state of any extent. One other form remains, that is, where the people, too numerous to meet themselves, choose certain of their own number to meet for them. This is called a representative government, because those who meet represent all the rest. It is also called a republic. Amen. Have you gained some knowledge so far on this video? That's it for this one. We are heading for video number 2. Welcome back. Are you ready for page number 2? Question number 13. Which of these ways of governing a nation is the best? Answer. The last. A country thus ruled is said to be free, or to enjoy liberty. But where a single man may make what laws he pleases, and all the rest must obey him, the people are no better than slaves. Question number 14. Why do they obey him? Answer. Because he has an army of soldiers whom he pays, and who force the people to obedience. Question 15. Cannot they raise an army too and resist him? Answer. This has sometimes been done, and after much bloodshed and confusion, the people have partially seceded, but they have more frequently failed, and then they are more oppressed than ever. Question 16. How is this country governed? Answer. It is a republic, and is governed by persons whom the people choose from time to time to make the laws. Question number 17. Was it always a republic? Answer. No. The states were formerly colonies. Question 18. What do you mean by colonies? Answer. When a part of the people of a nation remove to some distant place where they settle, but still continue to be governed by the nation from which they came out, these new settlements are called colonies, and the country which governs them is called the mother country. Question 19. By what nation were the American colonies governed? Answer. By Great Britain. Most of the people who first settled this country came from England, Scotland, and or Ireland, which three countries make up Great Britain, and long after they had settled here, continued to be governed by laws, most of which were made in England. Question 20. Were these laws good and wise? Answer. Many of them were, and for a time the colonies were perhaps better off than if they had entirely governed themselves, because though Great Britain did rule them, she also gave them protection by her fleets, and did many things for their advantage. But afterwards very unwise and unjust laws were made, and such as threatened to destroy all liberty in the colonies. Question 21. What did the colonies do then? Answer. They made complaints and reasoned for a long time with Great Britain, trying to persuade her to act more justly. And the last question for this video, question 22. Did Great Britain listen to their complaints and repeal those bad laws? Answer. No. But instead of that, sent over ships and soldiers to force us to obey them. And so we are learning the beginnings of this country. And we will see you in the... Welcome back, and welcome to questions on page number 3. You'll remember on the end of page number 2, the question was, did Great Britain listen to their complaints and repeal those bad laws? And the answer was no. Matter of fact, they sent soldiers and tried to get us to obey them. So now here we are, page number 3, question number 23. And the reason why I said what I said was because this question is related to that last question. And did we obey? Answer: no. The people of the colonies consulted with each other what was to be done, and at length took up arms, raised such armies as they could, and though they had few soldiers, no experienced officers, and but little money, they carried on a war against the whole power of Great Britain, and having, with aid from France, forced 2 British armies to lay down their arms and surrender themselves prisoners, they at length compelled Great Britain to acknowledge their independence. Wow. We were serious. Question 24. What do you mean by that? Answer: I mean that she was compelled to consent that all those colonies which had before been governed by laws made for them by her should after that have liberty to make laws for themselves and obey her no more. Question 25. When we speak of this war, what do we call it? And the answer is, we call it the American Revolution. Question 26. What do you mean by a revolution? Answer: a revolution means some great change of government, and we ought never to remember ours with ardent gratitude to God for so great a blessing, and with lasting love and reverence for those good, wise, and brave men who went through such dangers and sufferings that their country might be free. Question 27. When and where did the War of the Revolution begin? Answer: at Lexington and Concord, villages near Boston in Massachusetts, on the 19th of April, 1775. Question 28. How long did the struggle continue? The answer: more than 7 years. Question 29. When did it end? Answer: on the 27th of January, 1783, when a treaty was signed at Paris acknowledging the independence of the United States. Question 30. Why is the 4th of July kept with such public rejoicing through all parts of the United States? Answer: because on the 4th of July, 1776, the colonies first declared themselves free and independent. From that day, the independence of the country is reckoned in all our public proceedings, though it was not acknowledged by Great Britain until 1783. Question number 31. What was the change produced by the Revolution? Answer: the different colonies became each a free state, having power to govern itself in any way it should think proper. Wow. Question number 32. Had not one state any power over the other? Answer: none at all. And the several states might have remained entirely distinct countries, as much as France and Spain. And that is all of the questions on page number 3. And we will see you in the next. Well, welcome back. And are you ready for questions 33 through 37? Now, question 33 says, this is the question: did they? Isn't that something? Did they what? So we have to go back to the page before this, and if you're following this series in order, you're going to know what that other question was. But if you're grabbing this series just a file at a time, you might not understand what came before this. So in page number 3, the last question is, had not one state any power over the other? And the answer is none at all. And the several states might have remained entirely distinct countries, as much as France and Spain. And so then here's this first question now on page 4. Did they? In other words, did they become separate countries? And the answer is no. Having been led to unite together to help each other in the war, they soon began to find that it would be much better for each of them that they should all continue united in its farther prosecution. And accordingly, they entered into an agreement, which was called a confederation, in which they made some laws which they all agreed to obey. But after their independence was obtained, finding the defects of this plan, they called a convention in which they laid a complete plan for uniting all the states under one general government. This plan is called the Federal Constitution. On this great plan, or Constitution of the safety and happiness of the United States, does, under Almighty God, mainly depend. All our laws are made by its direction or authority. Whoever goes contrary to its injures, whoever goes contrary to it injures and betrays his country or authority. Whoever goes contrary to it injures, let me go to the next line here, injures me, betrays us all, and is deserving of the heaviest punishment. Whoever, on the contrary, loves and keeps it sacred is his country's friend, securing his own safety, and furthers the happiness of all around him. Let every American learn from his earliest years to love, cherish, and obey the Constitution. Without this, he can neither be a good or a great citizen. Without this, his name will never be engraved with honor in the pages of our history, nor transmitted, like that of Washington, with praises and blessings to a late posterity. My goodness. And so here we are back in the 1800s, and the claim was you had better be a good citizen and obey the Constitution. Now here's question number 34. You say that in a republic the laws are made by certain persons whom the people choose for that purpose. Who make the laws in our republic? Answer. The laws which concern only one of the states are made by persons chosen by the people of that state, and who, when met, are called the legislature, the General Assembly, or the General Court of that particular state. Those, for instance, who make laws which concern only the state of New York, they are called the legislature of the state of New York. Those who make laws which concern only the state of Massachusetts are called the General Court of Massachusetts. But laws which concern all the states or more states than one are made by the Congress of the United States. Question 35. But if even the Congress itself should make a law which is contrary to the Constitution, must the people obey it? And this is the shortest answer that we will hear. The answer to that question is no. Question number 36. Who is to determine whether any law is contrary to the Constitution or no? The people themselves? Answer. No. But certain persons whom they have appointed, called judges of the Supreme Court of the United States. And our last question on this page, question 37. Do the members of the Congress of the United States all meet together in one assembly when they make the laws? Answer. No. They meet in two separate assemblies, one of which is called the Senate, and the other is called the House of Representatives. And that's it for this session. And the next session we will start on page number 4. Welcome back. And we are back. We are on page number 5 and question number 38. Question. Who choose the persons who shall be members of the House of Representatives? Answer. The people of all the different states, because the laws of Congress concern all the states and must be obeyed by all the people of this republic. Question 39. Have children a right to choose them? Answer. No. Children are too young. Question 40. Are any other persons unfit? Answer. Yes. Question 41. How is it determined who may and who may not choose them? Answer. by the laws of each state. Whoever is allowed to choose the members of the legislature of that state is also allowed by the Constitution to choose members of the House of Representatives of the United States. Some states allow one class of persons to choose, and other states allow a different class. Each state acts as it thinks best. This choice is called an election. Question 42. How is it conducted? Answer. On a day fixed beforehand and publicly known, the people who are to choose and who are called voters meet at certain places called the polls. Here persons sit called inspectors, who have certain boxes called ballot boxes before them, and each person who votes puts into a hole in the top of these boxes a piece of paper with the names of the persons whom he chooses written or printed on it. These pieces of paper are afterwards examined and counted by the inspectors, who keep a written account of the names voted for and the number of votes given by the people for each. The persons having the greatest number of votes are chosen. There are some slight differences in the mode of holding elections in the different states, but is the same in every important particular. Now, this was written in 1828, and so you can tell that we have made some changes to some of these laws. My thoughts are, might be a good idea to reconsider some of the changes and maybe go back to the way we used to do it. It seems like it was not quite so confusing. Question 43. Are the times, places, and manner of holding these elections fixed by Congress? Answer. No. They have thus far been left to be regulated by each state for itself, but Congress may fix them if it thinks fit. Question 44. Suppose a dispute should arise concerning an election, and one person shall declare that he has been fairly chosen, while another denies it and insists that he himself has been chosen. Who has power to settle the dispute? Answer. A dispute between persons who claim a seat in the House of Representatives can be determined only by the House of Representatives. A dispute between persons claiming a seat in the Senate can be settled by the Senate only. Such disputes frequently arise. Question 45. When a person is chosen to be a member of the House of Representatives, how long does it continue so? Answer. for 2 years. Question 46. When the 2 years have expired, may he be chosen again? And the answer is yes. And that is the last question on page number 5. And you can take a little bit of a break if you like, but we will see you again in the next. Welcome to page number 6, and starting here with question number 47. The question is, suppose he dies before the time is out. And we've been talking about House of Representatives and the Senate. And so the answer is, another is chosen in his stead for the rest of the time. Question 48. How old must a person be before he can be chosen a member of the House of Representatives? And the answer is 25 years old. Question 49. May a person be chosen who has just come into the United States and who is a subject of some other country? That means who is bound to obey the laws of some other country? Answer: no. Any person to be chosen a member of our House of Representatives must either have been born in the United States or must have been naturalized 7 years before he is chosen. Question 50. Naturalized. What does that mean? Answer: a person who was born in another country and comes to live in this is not owned as a citizen of the United States till he has lived among us a certain time, and then, after knowing something of our laws and customs, has taken a solemn oath to obey the government. He is then admitted as a citizen of our republic. This is called his naturalization, and when once naturalized, he is allowed to choose the rulers and do all other things, the same as if he had been born among us. Question 51. May the people of one state choose a person who is an inhabitant of another state to be a member of the House of Representatives? Answer: no. He must live in the state where he is chosen. Question 52. How many persons may be chosen by each state as members of the House of Representatives? Answer: the number of representatives of any state is in proportion to the number of people in that state. At present, every 40,000 people send one representative. But this has been and may be altered with the increase of the number of people. Question 53. Some of the states have large numbers of slaves living in them, and others have many Indians. Are these counted in making up the 40,000? Answer: no. 3/5 of the number of slaves is allowed. That is, every 5 slaves are counted as if they were 3 free persons. Those Indians who pay taxes, that is, who pay money for the expenses of governing and defending us, are counted. Those who do not pay taxes are not counted. And the last question on this page and on this video, question number 54. How is it known what number of people each state contains? Answer. Certain persons are appointed to count the people and take a written list of them. Such a counting is called a census, and it takes place once in every 10 years. In the year 1790, the United States contained 3,929,326 people. In 1800, 5,309,758. In 1810, 7,239,903. And in 1820, which would have been the last one when this was printed, 9,638,166. And that is the end of this video, and we will see you on. Now this is questions 55 through 62 on page number 7. Question 55. When the members of the House of Representatives meet to make the laws, are they all equal, or does any one preside over them? Answer. They choose one of their own number whose duty is to preside over them while they are met to do business, and to see that they proceed in a regular and orderly manner in doing their public duty. He is called their speaker. They also choose a person who is not one of their own number to keep a written account from day to day of all that is done by them while assembled. That written account is called a journal of the House of Representatives, and the person who keeps it is called the clerk of the House. They also choose another person who is called their sergeant at arms, and who may, when so ordered by the House, seize any member who disobeys the rules, or who is charged by the House with any crime, and imprison him. They also choose another person as their doorkeeper, who is to take care that no person be admitted into the hall where the representatives are sitting, but such as are permitted by law. These several persons, thus chosen, are called the officers of the House of Representatives, and remain in office 2 years. Question 56. Who choose the members of the Senate of the United States? Answer. The legislature of each state chooses the senators for that state. And that is how it was at the writing of the Constitution. However, since that has been changed, so now the people of the several states elect the senators the same way that they elect the House of Representatives. It's no longer chosen by the states. Another option here would be to rethink that. And I think it would be better, personally, my own personal opinion, that the Senate be chosen by the states once again. Question number 57. How many senators may there be? Answer: 2 from each state. So, House of Representatives is based on the number of people in the state, but the senators are always 2 senators per state. Question 58. When a citizen is chosen by the legislature of his own state to be a member of the Senate of the United States, how long does he continue such? Answer: 6 years. Now you recall, House of Representatives is 2, Senate is 6. If he dies, if he dies before the expiration of that time, or resigns his office, that is, if he declares it to be his wish not to be a senator any longer, another is appointed to his place. Question 59. Are all senators chosen at the same time as members of the House of Representatives are? Answer: no. Only 1/3 are chosen at once. 2 years afterward, another third is chosen, and 2 years after that, another third, so that every 2 years, 1/3 part of the senators go out of office. But the same persons may again be chosen if the legislatures who choose them before wish to send them again. If not, they send others in their place. Question 60. How old must a person be before he can be chosen a senator of the United States? Answer: 30 years old. Now you recall, I believe it was 25, yes, for the House of Representatives, and it's 30 for the senators. And the House has 2